Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 69 of the podcast. On this week's episode, we have Hoffman and Saberwolf. We're going to talk about the finale of Miss Marvel and where we think that show might be going. And we're going to talk some rumors and leaks for the San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming next week. So without further ado, I'll introduce the guys and let's get going. Yo guys, what's up?
Hey, what up, Vento?
Welcome
back. Look at us doing a podcast again.
I know, bro.
Full episode.
I know, bro. I've missed it.
And on episode 69, nice. Look at us.
Nice.
Yes.
I just feel like, we're going to give something back to the audience while they give something to us as we come back to a full podcast. Like, I'm very excited.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It feels kind of strange. Record it all in one go again, because what we've been doing over the last few weeks, if we've been recording some stuff separately for YouTube, and then we kind of splice it all together, and that's been going up on Spotify as like a weekly episode. So people who listen to us on Spotify, maybe they haven't noticed a difference, but we haven't had a full episode go up on YouTube, so it's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
I feel like we're able to like deep dive stuff here. You know what I mean? I think one of the things about our channel is we all have like weird deep knowledge, like little nuggets of knowledge down all these like fandoms. Yeah. And when we were doing videos, like we kind of like explore that stuff. So I'm excited to hear Saberwolf, kind of steer the ship into a Hulk discussion for 30 minutes. I'm very pumped about this.
As always.
I'm always up for that. I love
it. Guys, so first of all, this week we had the finale of Miss Marvel. I know Miss Marvel hasn't really been a popular show for many people, but we've obviously, because we're a Marvel podcast, we've stayed up to date with it. Talk to me about the finale. Like, what did you think about the last episode? Did you like it? Did it kind of save the series for you? Was it similar kind of vibes to the rest of the series? What did we think?
It just felt so weird. Like I all of a sudden, like we're back from Pakistan, and now we're like inside of a high school running from the Department of Damage or whatever they're called, Mm-hmm. And like we're doing this high school Home Alone scene where like we're mapping out what we're gonna do. We're gonna tar and feather them. Like it felt weird.
I thought Home Alone straight away as well. I was like, oh no.
I was hearing that song, We're the Kids in America. I was like, oh my God, it just feels like that.
Yeah. It was rough enough.
Yeah, like I didn't hate it, but I also at the same time was thinking to myself, like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Like all of a sudden her brother just shows up because they need another person there, and like the girl from TikTok who everyone hates. Like all of a sudden these two characters just show up to high school like, hey guys, I'm here to help too. All right, let's do this. Come on, guys, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, dude, who's writing this stuff, bro? I really don't know. I don't know, dude. Like it was awful. It was really bad. Yeah. Each week as the show went on, I felt I was really feeling my age. It made me feel old, and maybe that's why I hated it, because I don't want to feel old. But for me, it was just. Yeah, this was made for 12-year-old girls, and it wasn't for me. And I didn't even like the big twist at the end either, like it's like, oh, Bruno has, for some reason, he works in like a little tech shop, and now he's like doing genetics and shit. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? It's like I was like searching through your family's genes and everything looked fine, and then I look at your genes and notice that there's a something different, a mutation, and then and I'm like, bro, come on. Like I was like, what the fuck? And like what annoys me so much about this as well is like, I'm hearing a lot of kind of like rumors around stuff that's coming. And apparently this week there was like a rumor from the Marvels movie that's coming out is going to include like Black Bolt and loads of Inhumans. And I'm like, why the hell are they bringing the Inhumans in now if they've just decided to... Because it feels like what they're trying to do is they're trying to like just get rid of the Marvels. Get rid of the Inhumans altogether and just, they're changing Miss Marvel into a mutant instead. Like it feels like they're just trying to scrap the Inhumans, but... Mm-hmm. Now there seems like they're going full send with the Inhumans, so I just don't get it.
It's just a weird moment with like fluidity. Like they don't understand, like Disney and Marvel right now, they don't understand how to make things fluid, how to make the character work. And this hard light situation with the bangle and whatnot, it just felt like it was forced. Like you're forced to have these powers. And yes, Kamala does get forced in a way with the Terrigen like gas or mist from the comics, and that allows her to become Miss Marvel, and she's able to like transform for a bit. She's able to grow in size and shrink in size. But it just like we don't see that. We just see like now she's just a normal person with a bangle that allows her to like project those powers, but not to the fullest extent. And I feel like this is the big block for Kamala Khan and her character. And just because she's a mutant now doesn't mean that like, oh, everything's going to be fixed. I know. It's just, that was so annoying for a second. I was like, at first I was like, and then I was like, oh wait, no, that's bad. That's not a good thing. Like this is not our first mutant, please.
Yeah.
That I think is one of my frustrations. And I want to circle back real quick, just like definitive thing with Black Bolt. I feel like they're going to leave the Inhumans out of it. And I feel like they're going to make Black Bolt like a mutant, right? Like I feel like that's what they're going to do, because the whole Inhuman thing, like you said, it's so dumb that it's even being considered to be part of this. And I think the only reason they're including Black Bolt is because of how popular he was in Multiverse of Madness, because everyone went nuts for him because the suit looked great. Everyone liked the actor, and they wanted more of him.
But Krasinski did refer to him as the Inhuman King when he was introduced.
Right.
True, but in the 616,
just in 838, you're talking about just 616,
right? But I am annoyed that this is how we got introduced to the mutants in the MCU, or the idea of mutants, because you know it's everyone's like, oh man, we finally got confirmation that mutants are coming to the MCU. Like, was there any doubt at this point? Like, we know they've been coming to the MCU. Yeah. And
Kevin Feige announced in 2019. You know, right. It's not a secret.
Yeah. So it just kind of felt like a weaker way to introduce it. I don't mind that Kamala Khan is like the first mutant we see. Maybe it could have been cooler if we would have gotten, you know, other like legendary mutants there, like, you know, Wolverine or Cyclops or Storm or Jean Grey, like someone who's like a mutant, you know, someone's like who's known and loved by fans of an X-Men. Rogue is coming up in Miss Marvel. Like that would have been better for me. But even the way they just introduced it, like just having Bruno drop the thing and then have the guitar riff, you know, I've talked about it with everyone over the week. I wish they were seeing it. I wish they would like had cast Professor X or just some dude with a bald head, and like Kamala comes to her home and like Professor X is sitting in there and he's like, oh, hello, Kamala, you know, like, and then cut. Like that would have been amazing to have something like that. Like Charles Xavier is the first mutant that we know is there. The bald head's there. You know, she's a young mutant. She's going to go to a school, whatever it is. That would have been better for me than the guitar riff. Although I will say, with the guitar riff, if that's going to be like their actual theme song in the MCU, it's kind of awesome.
It is awesome, and it seems like that's what they're trying to line that up, so that, like, you know, when we first saw Xavier in the yellow chair, we heard that theme, and now we've heard it again. So I would not be surprised that, you know, over the next like year or two, every time we're going to see a mutant, it's going to be the like, you know, it's going to be great. I love that. Like that's epic, bro. Like that's what that's the stuff I like. But at the same time, I just don't like how they did it with Miss Marvel. Like I just think she should have just been a Jinn or whatever, and let that be that. Let her be like one of one. Like just don't like pile her in with the X-Men, and then, like, you know, oh, I'm sure it's just going to be another label. You know, like it's just like, oh, come on. Like, come on.
Or at least like make it so that the bangle mess with their genetics, and now she's like considered inhuman, and then that just fixes everything at that point. Now you can just have her be an inhuman, because of the fact that, like, we also have seen Black Bolt, which, by the way, I hated the fact that Black Bolt talked when he didn't have his mouth, because that dude, he was trained his entire life never to speak unless he needed to. Yeah. Like for the fact of like attacking someone. So like for him to do that like it just made me upset for a bit. Like I like the kill scene, but for the fact that he talked just because he freaked out like that.
Well, I think what was it? The way I took that scene was just that the way Wanda caught it was she caught his mouth kind of just before he was about to speak, so it was too late to go back, sort of thing. That's the way I kind of perceived that scene.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you know, what if he was trying? He doesn't know that his skin was covering it. I can't see my mouth. Maybe he was just trying to like bust through what was ever covering his mouth. You know, I don't know.
I think he should have probably been able to bust through that though, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. But don't take away that we got to see Black Bolt's head get crushed in by himself. Yeah. And I'm tired of fans trying to take that moment away from Sam Raimi, because it's fucking awesome, dude.
It was.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
I was sitting there. Awesome. I was like, whoop.
Yeah, no, it was. It was really great. Yeah, so like I don't really know what to say about the show. Like, what do you think about the little like body swap that she did with Brie Larson? Like, I knew Brie Larson was going to show up by the end of the show. Like, it was obvious. They needed to do it. And I don't know. I kind of was like, oh, there she is. And I was just like, yeah, okay, cool. Didn't really care. You know.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Outside of people, I always make fun of the Captain Marvel movies. It was kind of a running joke on the podcast. But like, here's the kicker. I actually love Captain Marvel as a comic book. Like, I love that character. I was pumped for her to come to the MCU. And I kind of like Brie Larson as Captain Marvel at times, but I feel like her movies and her appearances have just been kind of shit. So seeing her pop up, we did expect it, but I was very, very excited for it. I think this is her best look yet. I think that now that Captain America or Steve Rogers is retired, they gave Captain Marvel like the rolled up sleeve look with the gloves, like that's a cool fucking look. And I think her hair finally looks decent. Like, she always looks like she's wearing this terrible wig in her movies. And so I just thought she looked cool, man. I think this is the best look. They finally got her kind of classic V-shape chevron going across all the way over to her shoulders. So it has that cool look. I was a big fan. And I think it's a good setup for the movie. This is the first time that we've gotten a big A-lister cameo inside of one of these TV shows. Normally, it's just kind of like they're either the star of the show or it's just like no one at all, right?
Yeah.
So just like getting an A-list cameo, I'm like, this is what Disney Plus needs a little bit more of.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they should have been doing this all along. I know Chris Hemsworth like lended his voice to the Loki show and stuff like that. But I really do think like even him showing up in Loki would have been great, or a variant of Thor, or I've always said this, even like old man Steve Rogers showing up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier would have been incredible. Just get Chris Evans on set for a day, put him in the makeup and let them do a quick scene, like Sam's doubting himself and then he meets up with Steve. It's like, I gave you the shield for a reason. It would have been great. It would have been so good to see. Like, don't doubt yourself. I gave you this for a reason. That would have just been incredible.
Right. It would have been incredible, but that defeats the purpose of having Isaiah on the scene, because Isaiah was the actual first Captain America. So
but
you have to.
We get fucking Chris Evans.
I know. And that's would be fun.
That's the fun part about the MCU.
Hey, and maybe just have them both in the same room and chat it up or something. I don't know, but for the fact that the conversation between Isaiah Bradley and Sam Wilson, those moments, in my opinion, that was one of the best scenes ever in that entire series, because I love the conversation they had and how it was so he was like, there was oppression. There was these, they did things to us. They forced us. We had no choice. And now you're going to be taking up the mantle. He's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be forced to do the same thing? Or are you going to take up the mantle and do your own thing? What's going to happen? He's like, but just do it for you. Don't do it. Don't just do it for America. And I love that whole conversation that they had, and it blew me away. So I do understand that the Steve Rogers thing would have been cool, but I think it would take away some of the essence unless he was there with them, or maybe even at the very end of the show, him talking to him so you're finally picking up the mantle, kind of situation. Oh, nice to see you. Something funny, something lighthearted,
Him complimenting the suit.
Yeah. Nice suit.
I don't want him to lie, Finto. You know what I mean? He's Steve Rogers, man. He's very honest.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So what do you think? So I presume Kamala herself is just warped in, they swap places. I think this is a story in the comic books, right? The Bangles actually, there's Bangles in the comics, and apparently it allows Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel to swap places. So I think that was a nod to the comics. So whatever Captain Marvel was up to, now Miss Marvel is just they've just swapped places. So I'm curious to see, will they be able to control that and potentially just be bouncing back and forth. But, I presume Captain Marvel, she can just fly off and go back to wherever she was. But it's how's Miss Marvel getting back to Earth,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, she's...
I think it's a great setup for the Marvels. It puts Captain Marvel directly on Earth again, which she probably wasn't on Earth to get the story started. So now it gives her a reason to be right there.
Well, she'll be there for 2 minutes, I'd say. She's just going to fly straight off.
Yeah, she gets to interact with.
Talk to the family.
Yeah, I want to talk to the family, dude. I want to talk to the dad. The dad kills me every time he's on screen, man.
He's very good.
So I'm excited for that. Hopefully they can drive her to the airport or something fun. I don't know.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah,
I think it's good setup. And it puts her, Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel there next to Monica Rambeau. You know what I mean? Now she's in that New Jersey area where all that shield stuff's going on, or sword. I mean. I don't know how close she is to Westview, but it's got to be close. I mean,
yeah.
Right, she could take a look, and then I have to agree with Hoffman. Like, I love the father in the show. I felt like every single time he was on scene, it was perfect. Like that dude just played Kamala's father perfectly. I loved him the whole time. He's not the same in the comics. I think in the comics he's a little more strict than that. I think compared to the mother, and so I thought that was kind of interesting that they kind of reversed the roles just a little bit, so that they made him seem a little bit more kind-hearted. And that's why I think it like the most impactful point was like in the first episode when you see him like actually sad, because you never see any of the characters sad except for like, you know, probably the villains, because they want their power back or whatever. Which is like, can we talk about the villains too? Like, how convoluted was this situation? Like the plot, like what was their goal? Like ultimately, like I know they wanted to go back to wherever they lived, but like it just didn't seem like it was worth it or even like mattered.
The clandestines.
I really felt like the season wasn't very villain driven, and I think that was kind of the way to go, because, you know, at the very start Kamala like doesn't know anything, so she wouldn't be able to defend herself against a proper villain. Like, so I think the way that they did it is probably the best way that they could have done it, introducing somebody so slowly into a role. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't care about anything that happened in the show. Like when the dude, whatever his name was, got the power of the djinn or whatever, and
Kamran?
Yeah, whatever. Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care what his name is. Don't care what the power is. And then, like, you know, Bruno's like, "Oh, you've got powers too now," and oh no, the damage controller outside. Like, it's like I just don't care what's going on here. It was just.
So is he a mutant?
Yeah, I don't know. No, well, he's a djinn from another dimension, so it's like,
but you know, like, I don't think his mom had those powers, but her dying gave him powers. Like, I just don't understand what the deal is. Like, it was so underexplained.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I don't want my hand to be held, but at the same time, you got to give me some types of clues.
Yeah.
You got to give me something to work with, because I don't know why the red daggers were in this show. I don't know why he all of a sudden had powers. I don't know why the clandestines like went to jail and they escaped within a matter of like 5 minutes. Like, none of it made sense or was important. It was all just like wheel spinning, when the villain at the end of the day was supposed to be like, you know, the Department of Damage Control. Like that, those guys were supposed to be the villains. And why weren't they the whole time? Yeah. Why wasn't there more focus? Why wasn't the plot about tying her family's history with Pakistan and the government into like damage control? Like, the government and the system is like they're the villains. Bureaucracy is the villain in the show. So why weren't those parallels like just driven home from earlier in the episodes? And why did we fuck around with the clandestines? Like, it just didn't make any sense at all.
Right. And I feel like with Vento, like, I understand that you think that there should not be a villain because, you know, Miss Marvel just got her powers and whatnot. But you got to remember, Peter Parker had villains from the get-go. Like, he had thugs and whatnot. But like, that's the thing, is like, Kamala can work against thugs. She can start practicing against different beings like on Earth, and then other things just come in and attack her. Like, you know, she didn't take one single hit in this entire show, and that's what I keep coming back to, is like, she literally had that bangle for plot armor. Every time she got hit, and like the fucking crystals like just covered it up and was like, no, she didn't actually get hit. It's like, it was like a child's like game. Like, no, you didn't actually hit me. I had a protective shield on me this whole time. And it's like, it's not fun. Like heroes are meant to be attacked and hit, and they should show like, you know, fear and like injury, because that's what makes them a little more human, and then we can relate to them. With this, I can't relate to it at all. Like, yes, she's, you know, a 16-year-old girl in Jersey, and, you know, she's just grown up in high school, and you know, everybody's had that kind of situation before, but we've already had that with Peter Parker. Like, what does she bring to the table? And this is what really ruined it, is that there was no concrete villain that could actually defeat her. Nobody could defeat her at this point. All it was like conversation. Like, at the end of it, just the other villain just lets herself get killed. No fight whatsoever against Kamala. It's like, you don't have to do this. Every single time the villain shows up, you don't have to do this. Even with the DODC, you don't have to do that. And it just didn't work. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah. It's definitely the lowest rated Marvel project of Phase 4 for me, like, altogether. There's nothing, like, could be one of the lowest Marvel projects ever for me, to be honest. I just, it didn't hit for me at all. I think it'll be cool. Like, I love the concept of her just going, like, teleporting directly into, like, a movie. And she's just, like, you know, the Marvels, I presume, is going to just kick off directly after this show. That's cool. That's great. But I just don't care about any of the story. If she starts getting, like, messed up in space by the Kree and stuff next, I'm like, okay, that'll be cool. But it's like, how do you go from, like, where she is now to her fighting aliens in space? Like, it's just, like, you know, it's very much getting thrown into the deep end, you know? Very much so. Because even Spider-Man, you bring up Spider-Man, and it's like, when we first see him, you know, it's to be understood that he did all of his, like, street-level stuff in the shit suit, and then Tony finds him. But then he goes straight back to just, like, you know, like, stopping, like, bike thefts and, you know, that sort of shit, like, and saving cats and trees and all, like, you know, so he just, like, he's definitely the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but, like, that, I don't know, like, that interests me a lot more than this did with Miss Marvel. I don't really know why, like, but
I mean, like, Spider-Man had better plot. Like, it had a better plot and story. The thing I think I take away from Miss Marvel is that I actually really like all the characters. I like Kamala Khan a lot. I like her family tons. I like Bruno a lot. I like all the pieces of this story. It's just like they weren't put together. You know, the plot sucked. The story was pretty good. The plot was horrible in this thing. It was uninteresting. It wasn't that dynamic. It wasn't a great origin story for her. It was just That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is, like, I just started reading, you know, the comic book for Miss Marvel and how her origins began. And she just went to a party and she's just, you know, like, not having it because they're drinking and whatnot. And so she's on her way home and all of a sudden the Terrigen bomb, like, hits. And so the Mist shows up and then she passes out. And then she gets, like, a vision of, like, all the Avengers, like, chatting with her. It's like, what kind of person do you want to be? And then she's like, I want to be like Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. And she wakes up and she has golden blonde hair with, like, you know, with her outfit already. And, like, yeah, that's kind of rough, like, hard to do in, like, live action. But I mean, at least have her wake up and then, like, some, like, her powers start to manifest all of a sudden. And she gets small, like, because in the comics, she got small. She's like, giant cockroach. And then she gets back up and then she's like, you know, it's all these different things of, like, what's happening to me. I'm going through changes. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, I'm going through changes. And that's the same thing that happened with Peter. I'm going through changes. And that's how we relate. But it just doesn't relate when it's a bangle, when it's just handed to you.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It just, you know, relation is a big thing. And I just can't relate to this character. And that's just the way it is, you know. I'm done. I'm just, you know, I'll watch the Marvels, of course. I want to see what happens with Monica Rambeau, and, like, really, to be honest, I'm more interested in that. And then I want to see, like, obviously, I think the likes of Fury and stuff are probably going to be in that. I think it might kind of sink in with Secret Invasion and stuff like that, and for the bigger picture. But, you know, it'll be interesting. But I'm not, like, kind of waiting for it. Like, it's not something that's high up on my list of things to look forward to. Like, we're recording this podcast on the 17th of July, so we're 1 month away from She-Hulk. On the dot, it's like 17th of August is when it starts. So, you know, like, I'm really, like, praying that show kind of hits off a lot better. And I think from what I've heard, kind of rumor mill flying, I think there's going to be some really, really big stuff in that show. I think this is the kind of next chapter or next phase of the Disney kind of TV shows, where there's going to be a lot of connective tissue, there's going to be a lot of cameos, there's going to be some people brought in from the Netflix universe and stuff like that. It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait.
And that's perfect, because that's what She-Hulk is. Yeah. She's like talking with different heroes. She's talking even with villains. Like, she's creating connections and she's breaking the fourth wall. And this is what we need. We need these connections. And I know that, like, all three of us have been talking about it. We need those cameos to come in where they talk to the other hero, not that they disappear and then the other hero jumps in and is like, what the hell's going on? Like, I did like that Kamala Khan, like, you know, Captain Marvel, like, swap. Yeah. But I think it would have been cooler to have her, like, show up for no reason. Like, she was brought there. And then they're like, what the hell are you doing here? Oh my God, it's Captain. Like, you know, that fangirl kind of moment, you know, that would have been cool.
Or even just seeing, like, even just seeing where Kamala went. Like, imagine like she went on to like Captain Marvel's ships and she's in like her quarters or something, and then she kind of sees something that belongs to Carol Danvers and has that little freak out moment, like, oh my god, what the hell am I like, how did I get here? You know, that would have been cooler as well, like nearly better. I actually think that could have even nearly been better, and you might not have had to bring Brie Larson on. I think it was a smart move to bring Brie Larson in, but I would have liked to see where Kamala went rather than having to wait now for a movie to come out when I don't even know when that movie's out. Is that movie out this year or is it next year?
No, next year, yeah.
I
think the only movie we got left now is Black Panther, I believe.
So,
in terms of movies.
Yeah, I don't know. So, like, you know, the fact that we have to wait to see what happened to her for like a year kind of sucks. You know?
Yeah.
It's a nice mystery.
Yeah. True. True.
You guys need to lower your expectations for She-Hulk. I'm sorry. I got bad vibes coming.
No, dude.
I get it, man.
I think this one's going to be good, dudes. I think this is the Turner.
Okay.
I'm hopeful because, you know, that's a character from, you know, one of my favorite characters ever, Hulk. Like, I can't. Like, I have to be hopeful that She-Hulk knocks it out of the park, at least for an episode or two. I don't need the whole series to go crazy. I just want like some two good episodes where all three of us are like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope it's like the first 2 episodes.
Oh, dude, I've heard Charlie Cox is in 3 episodes of the show. So I'm gonna be fucking loving life, dude, no matter what. Yellow suit Daredevil for 3 episodes. I like, honestly, the show could be shit and I'm still gonna love it. It's gonna be incredible.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I talk about some leaks that I heard? Or, well, not leaks, some rumors that are flying around the Marvel universe.
Tread lightly, Fento.
So, this week, we've heard a lot of casting rumors.
Yeah.
Like, the Fantastic Four have apparently been cast. Did you guys hear about this? Who's up for the different roles?
I like have seen a couple of different things saying who they cast. I don't know what to believe. I don't even know what leaks are like the right leaks to be looking at, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like shout out to Den of Nerds, like, but I know Josh is usually on the ball, so he usually has a couple of like trusted leakers that he kind of listens to, and it's rare that he's wrong. Like, I've been watching him for a long time, and it's rare that he stands up and is like, nah, I was completely off. That's not going to happen at all. You know, so yeah, the big one I think from this week was that Steven Spielberg is apparently in talks with Marvel to direct Fantastic Four.
I'll fucking cry, dude.
Yeah.
Because Steven Spielberg is still one of the best directors ever. Yeah. So, West Side Story was amazing.
That's definitely the best news that I took from the week. I thought, wow, could you imagine getting like a proper A-lister in here like this to do this? Some of the casting rumors for F4 is kind of crazy. Reed Richards is not going to be John Krasinski for the 616. Apparently the main man at the top of the list right now is Jamie Dornan, who was in like 50 Shades of Grey, and he was in a show called The Fall.
How are we gonna have the guy from 50 Shades of Grey being the dude who can extend and wrap people up with his arms? Like, what the hell, man?
Sounds kinky to me, bro.
Yeah, you know, his stories get down. She's a baddie, bro.
Johnny Storm, and I don't know how I feel about this, but it's going to be Steve Harrington from Stranger Things, and I love the I love him as Steve, but I don't know how I feel about him as Johnny. It's a bit of a weird one, because John, like, if you think about it, we had Chris Evans as Johnny in the first round of movies. Then we had Michael B. Chandler as him, Michael B. Jordan, and he's a really fucking cool dude as well. So it's like, I just don't know. I don't know. Like, Steve's really kind of like a scrawny like dude. I know he's probably he might get the comedy bits down, but I don't know. I don't know, bro. What do you think about that?
I mean, he still has time to bulk up. Like, it's just like with.
But even still, like, these people can bulk up all they want, but they're still small guys. Like, you know, it's like the dude's an average guy. Like, even if he gets jacked to the moon, he's not going to look right because he'll just be stocky. Like, he'd be looking more like the Thing. Like, you know. So I don't know. There's a presence, and he doesn't have that presence. You know, like Henry Cavill's got it, Chris Evans has it. Hugh Jackman's got it. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, and I don't really feel like that dude can just stand there and be the Human Torch. Like, you know, maybe, like, again, I always will have full like trust in Marvel in what they're trying to do. I couldn't think of a word there, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said that I was talking about this earlier on my Discord. Like, when has Marvel ever messed up a casting? Like, really? Like, if you think about it, there's been bad movies for sure, but I always feel like they're just so on the ball with the casting, like, you know. So it's really tough for me to think like, okay, yeah, Marvel fucked up there. Like, that's a terrible casting. How could they even get that person involved? Like, it just makes no sense. I feel like they hit it out of the park every time. So if they see something in Steve Harrington, they obviously see something that we don't. So I always reserve the right, and let's see what happens.
Just looked up some stats on my man. He is 5'11", which is pretty average, right? 5'11" is like an average height, so he doesn't like stand out superhero wise. And he's in his 30s, which he's actually 30, which is shocking to me. Steve, damn.
He's playing an 18-year-old on TV. Love it.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just surprised. Like, I'm surprised at that casting. I would like to see the screen test for it. I've never seen him in anything other than Stranger Things, so like I have no idea how he actually is.
He was in Free Guy. Did you watch Free Guy?
No.
He was pretty funny in that. Again, he's kind of funny, so I can kind of maybe see where they're going with the whole comedy thing. But yeah, like, he's a kind of a tech guy in Free Guy. He's like one of like the software engineers that works for the company that run the servers for the game or whatever. And then he does a part where he like injects himself into the game, so he plays a cop. Like, it's kind of like GTA. He's like a cop in GTA. So like, yeah, like, again, cool dude, very funny, good actor, but he doesn't have that superhero stature, like, you know.
Sure.
I don't know, man. Like, 5'11", Johnny Storm is 5'10", so like he's already beating him by an inch.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, you know, it depends on the type of script they're writing, like how they're actually making the character. Like, he might be perfect for it.
Yeah.
But I would also say, like, pre-Guardians, them casting Chris Pratt, like, I would never see him as like a superhero, and he doesn't really have that like superhero charisma or presence. He has like a whole different vibe in the Guardians. Like, he's his own type of character as a leader.
True.
So like, I feel like it can work, but I also see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because I feel like John Krasinski had the same thing, where I felt like John Krasinski as an actor, like, didn't have that superhero presence as Reed Richards. Like, I know I was going against the grain of that one, but I'm like, I didn't feel him playing the part next to, you know, Stephen Strange. Like, he just didn't feel like they were in the same universe when they were playing off each other.
I think his suit was a big hurt for that character. Like, the suit was shit. His suit was terrible. You know, like, fan castings for that gave Krasinski a better look. They gave him like the gray wings, and they gave him like a kind of better beard, and they gave him like the suit, like a proper suit. Like, I think it was kind of modeled off the Captain America suit, but they kind of changed the colors, and it looked amazing, bro. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could they not just do that in the movie? And I know that maybe they had to rush. I heard rumors that, you know, they had to flip the script because they had Daniel Craig in, and then it leaked, and they were like, no, we got to switch things up. Let's just get Krasinski in to do a Reed Richards appearance because that's what everyone wants. But so I think it was very rushed. And, you know, Elizabeth Olsen confirmed that she never even met him. You know, they never even had a day on set together. So, you know, it was very much done during the editing process, I believe. So, you know, I do cut Krasinski a bit of slack in that sense, because he did quite good for someone who probably just performed in front of a blue screen the entire time and didn't even meet anybody, you know.
And I want to tack on like the whole like they didn't meet on scene thing. You could totally tell, especially with the interaction with Elizabeth Olsen and like the cast when they come out and they approach Wanda and they're like, yeah, this isn't fluid talk. Like, this is weird. Yeah. They're not there. She's not there. Like, this is awful.
Talking about editing, did you see I can't remember who put it up, but there was a clip going around of Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson talking about talking about Love and Thunder. Yeah. And they basically like the editors did a mess up, and they're like put in this scene where Tessa Thompson was meant to like wake up from a dream or something, and she kind of like jolts as she's standing still. And she points it out to Taika, and Taika's like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of funny. He's like, I didn't do that. That's, you know, and he kind of just hangs the editors out to dry. Like, I'm just like, bro, like you're like hanging your own editors out, like. And like, we all know kind of the stories that have come out over the whole VFX artists like being run to the ground and they're being underpaid and everything, like. So, you know, the behind the scenes shit in Marvel is probably a little shaky right now, and I think it's down to the fact that there's just so many fucking projects. so many projects, and they're obviously overrunning staff like crazy, and that's why someone like an editor is probably so overrun that when he's cutting making a final cut of a film, he leaves something like that out, because there was obviously like a dream sequence or something there with Valkyrie, and then they decided to cut that whole sequence from the movie. So when your man cut it, he obviously left a tiny little bit of it in, of her kind of like waking up or whatever, like snapping back from it. Wild to me, dude. Wild. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I always kind of think to myself, if I was a director, or I would never let something like that into my movie. Like, you know, and you always see people making these stupid continuity mistakes in movies, and I'm like, how the hell does that make it into the movie? But obviously Taika himself saying, geez, I never saw that before. Like, obviously the final cut of the movie has nothing to do with him, you know, like he finishes his project, it's like, okay, my cut's done, probably 4 hours long, and then like, you know, it hits the editing room floor, and then bang, it's cut down to 2 hours.
He definitely doesn't come off as like the most technically tight director. Like, he's very loose with everything. He's like, you know, just let it be what it is, and go with it. And so I think his editing process is probably just, he's not as meticulous as other people would be in this role.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just to talk about a few more casting things as well. Apparently this week there has been a couple of X-Men castings.
Whoa.
Charles Xavier is going to be played by Giancarlo Esposito.
You know, I don't know if he's going to be Charles Xavier, because I can see him in so many roles in the MCU. I know people are like speculating he's on for Xavier, and I got to be honest, I don't like him as Xavier. He is he's a villain. He's played too many villains. I can't see him as a good guy. I can't see him as his fatherly good guy figure anymore, because he's just played too many villains.
So I heard as well, Denzel Washington as Magneto.
Damn, Denzel?
That's some crazy shit,
isn't it? It's wild.
Dude,
it's really crazy.
I would love Denzel as Magneto.
I'd love Denzel just in the MCU in general, but
I mean, when I think of, you know, a small Jewish man, Denzel is the first one that pops up in my mind. But I think you'd fucking kill it as Magneto for real.
Yeah. But now that you've said about Esposito as a villain, maybe him as Magneto instead. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
that would work cool. Much better.
So, did you guys see Top Gun Maverick?
No, unfortunately.
No. Okay, so there's a dude in that movie, and I apologize if you're listening, bro, but I don't know your name. So the dude's name, it escapes me, but he's one of the main cast members in the Top Gun sequel. He is apparently number one in the running to play Cyclops.
Is this the guy who played Bob?
No, not Bob. He's the kind of blondie dude. He plays like the main kind of bad guy in it, like, you know, the rival to Rooster, basically. Who's Goose's son.
Gotcha.
Sorry, give me 1 sec. I will get his name, because it's kind of stupid to talk about him when I don't know his name.
Well, the only blonde hair I see is Glenn Powell.
Yeah, it might be him. Let me just check. I'll know when I see his picture.
Glenn Powell would be cool. I see a picture of him as next to Cyclops online right now.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Glenn Powell. Okay. Yeah. You know, it's Cyclops is just like a 20-year-old American dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got that like East Coast vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of preppy. So there's so many things you could do with that. I've never seen Glenn Powell act, but he definitely looks like he could be Scott Summers for sure, just from looks alone.
He was good in that movie. He was good in Maverick. Maverick was a great movie. Like, honestly, like probably one of my favorite movies of the year so far, which is crazy to say. Like it broke a billy as well in the box office. Like, it absolutely killed it. It was actually really, really good. So yeah, that's some of the X-Men castings as well, apparently, that are floating around. But also, sorry to go back to Fantastic Four. Jason Segel, apparently, you know, from How I Met Your Mother, he's potentially going to appear in She-Hulk as Ben Grimm.
Ooh.
And then later on become the Thing.
That's interesting.
So that he'll be technically the first Fantastic Four member to appear in the 616, and he's going to appear in a month's time in She-Hulk.
Ooh, I'm curious about how his his Thang voice would be. You know what I mean? I always imagine the Thang with like a deep voice and like menacing a little bit.
Angry voice. He's just so pissed off at life. Yeah, he hates what's happened to him. I don't know. Like I haven't really seen Jason in anything he's not kind of playing the funny kind of stoner dude or whatever. So it will be interesting to see. I love him as an actor. Like I'm a big How I Met Your Mother fan. I love Marshall in it. Like he's a king. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I could see it. I'll give it a go, of course, but. Yeah, I've always kind of thought of like for me, the Fantastic Four. I always kind of go back to the original cast of the first movie. I actually thought that they were cast really well. And the dude who played him, who I think he was the guy from The Shield, wasn't he? Was he in The Shield and stuff? The dude who played the original Ben Grimm.
Yes.
He was so like I thought he just played the character so well, and I suppose I didn't really know many other characters except for like animations at the time. But I always thought he brought it to the big screen perfectly. So. It's just it's a big change, but again, I go back to saying the same thing I say every time. If Marvel sees something in Jason Segel, let's just see what they see. Like, you know, Feige knows what he's doing. Whoever's the casting lady for Marvel as well, she's fantastic. So I can't think of her name either. So if you're listening to, I apologize.
And if she's cast, she'll literally be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another thing that I heard as well. So She-Hulk is going to have a lot of the cast of Daredevil. I've spoke about this before, but it's going to have a lot of the cast of Daredevil in the show. You know, Foggy, maybe Karen Page, obviously Matt Murdock. But apparently they're recasting Elektra. They're not bringing back the Elektra from the show, which I'm kind of upset about because I really liked her as Elektra. She was really good. But the rumor is that they're having, what's her name? She's the girl that was in the TV show From Dusk Till Dawn. She played like Salma Hayek's character in that show.
There's a Dusk Till Dawn TV show?
Oh, dude, it's great.
What?
Yeah, it's good, dude. It's good. Well, the first season was fantastic. I didn't really watch much of after that, but it was really good.
I had no idea about this.
Yeah, and the girl who's playing her, like, she's stunning. Like, she's beautiful. Like, but I think I find it kind of strange that they're recasting Elektra. Because I thought she did a fantastic job. The way her and like Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock played off each other, I thought was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Maybe they're concerned about her being able to like hold it down by herself, because I'm sure, especially with what's happening in the comic books, like we just got through Devil's Reign in the comic books. Elektra has like a huge part. Elektra's always had her own solo book too. So I'm sure Marvel probably wants the person playing Elektra to be able to carry a show by herself, and that might be where the concerns are.
Yeah, that's fair, because like this girl who's playing her now, I know she kind of started off in From Dusk Till Dawn, but she's a big movie star now. I think she was in she's been in a few movies with like Ryan Reynolds and shit like that, like, you know, so she's definitely up there. So yeah, that does make sense if they're planning an Elektra show, which, you know, if they're giving Echo a show, I would absolutely see them giving.
I can't believe Echo's getting a show. Like, apparently there's Echo fans all over the world now who have just been lying in secret, who know everything about this character. Yeah. Because like I've barely heard anyone ever talk about Echo in my fucking life, and like now she just gets her own show, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Echo's the best!" Like, what? What?
So I heard a bit of a plot thing about the Echo show as well. So apparently,
did you hear it?
Echo is going to be, Feige told me himself. The Echo show is going to be about Echo and Kingpin having to team up together to go against Daredevil. They have a collective interest to take out Daredevil, and he'll be
like a villain show.
He'll be like it's like focusing on the villains, but Daredevil will be who they're going against. So it's a kind of flip of the script of the usual format of us following the hero, which I think is a cool idea. I think that's great. For sure. And like we're gonna get another Daredevil suit apparently. So we're gonna have the yellow one in Hulk, and then it's a full black one with the red DD across the chest for Echo.
Ooh, you get the full black one?
Yeah, which I think is in the comics at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Is that the one he's running in the comics right now? I'm not too sure.
No, they just relaunched him a Daredevil line, and he has the red suit, and he's like kind of got a hood with him too right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I think there was a run very recently where he was in charge of the Hand. Maybe it was like a year ago or something, or maybe 2 years ago. But he had a full black suit with the double DD on the chest, and he was apparently in the comics he was running the hand. Okay. So they were saying, geez, if they're giving him that suit, are they like looking to have him kind of running the hand or something, which would be fucking nuts. So yeah, dude, I think there's a lot of exciting stuff coming. I'm curious to see where it all goes.
Finto, did you know that there was another rumor of who might be cast as Mr. Fantastic?
Tell me. Plug it to my veins, sir.
Apparently, it goes by the name of Penn Badgley. Never heard of the guy.
Joke.
No,
it feels like you're setting him up right now. What's happening?
This poor guy. This poor guy.
Penn Badgley?
Yep, Penn Badgley. PennBadgley.
Okay.
Oh, it's the dude from You on Netflix. I know the guy. Do you know that creepy show You on Netflix?
Yeah.
He's the main guy. He's the main guy in that. I like him. He's a good actor. I don't know if I see him playing Reed Richards.
Dude, I totally see him as Reed Richards. Holy moly.
I actually would see him too, like that.
He's got like those very angular features on his face. He's got that head of hair, the swoop back.
Yeah, he's
totally put the wings.
He's doing bits at the moment. You know, that You show is massive, like so. Yeah, he's a big name, big name.
Yeah.
Apparently, the dude from 50 Shades. I haven't seen the show, but he did a show called The Fall, and he's apparently incredible in that show. Like incredible.
That's exciting. I'm very excited for the Xmen here. I just want to see how they do it. Like, how are they going to bring the Xmen? Because the current run of the Xmen is so wildly different than the 1990s Xmen. I'm curious which one they go with. And if they're casting Esposito, if they're casting Denzel Washington, it's obvious that they're kind of shifting the start of the Xavier and Magneto storylines to kind of like the 1960s, probably like civil rights, because everyone always says the X-Men was like allegory for civil rights and anyways, right?
Yeah.
And they're actually just gonna like hit the nail harder on the head and just put them there, just put them as like 1960s, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think Giancarlo would definitely play a better Magneto, because I can actually see him with the entire suit and the helmet and just giving that deadpan face towards like Charles Xavier. Imagine if Denzel's like sitting in the chair, and like Denzel's really good at bringing in the scene when it comes to like something important and trying to like explain like why things should be the way they should. Like Denzel Washington's the perfect person. With Giancarlo, I can see him be like, the Brotherhood is your brother. Like that's your team. Like you should follow us. Like it should be mutants or nothing.
Yeah.
And I can totally see Giancarlo do that.
Yeah.
I think his problem would be his size. Magneto's a big dude. Like he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's menacing in that big helmet and stuff, you know.
Like just seeing him float. Like how many iconic scenes are there of Magneto just floating in the air?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think SPC could pull that off. He's just a tinier guy, man. He's just a tinier dude. That's all.
Yeah, but like you see Ian McKellen, and like I know he was an old guy playing as Magneto. You know, but like it still fit. It still did a good job. I believed it. And I thought his acting was on point. Ian McKellen can never do wrong, as far as I know.
He's a legend. I got to talk about another casting rumor. So it's the first one as well for the Blade movie. Anthony Starr as Dracula.
Ooh, Homelander, huh?
Homelander as Dracula. Yeah. So Homelander from The Boys playing Dracula in the Blade movie.
I could totally see that because he makes such like oddly terrifying faces. Like he has that smile that like kind of goes up kind of goofy, almost like Joker like, you know?
Yeah. So imagine him covered in blood with like the vampire teeth and stuff. Like, oh my god, dude, it'd be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for them to be hitting Dracula like that, man. Woo!
Yeah, for sure. I think that'd be
I mean, what do you think it would have been if he was cast as Deacon? Like, I think that would have been another good pick as well, because I think Deacon's a crazy guy. So like seeing Anthony Starr play as Deacon as well, like that would have been cool. But I can totally see him as Dracula being the big bad, especially since, you know, he's the big bad in The Boys. And yeah, I agree with you, Hoffman. Like his smile is so menacing. It's scary sometimes. Like you don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people throw his name in the hat for the Reverse Flash in DC, and it just like it would be perfect. Like I've seen people doing like CGI, like photoshops and stuff, him in the Reverse Flash suit and all, and it just is poetry. It's beautiful. But yeah, I'd prefer to see him in the MCU. Obviously, I think he's a top tier guy. Like wouldn't want to see him get wasted in DC. If he could do both, fantastic. But I think these actors are kind of picking one or the other. You know, like there's very few people that you see appearing in DC and Marvel at the same time. I don't even know if there is any. Is there any? I'm trying to think
of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. If there's any, guys, let us know. Let us know in the comments. I don't think there's any.
Who acted in both DC and Marvel?
Who's doing it like now, or like is there somebody that crosses over, like who does both?
No,
Ezra Miller.
No, not that I know of. Oh, nah.
Ezra Miller.
That's not gonna work.
What? He's doing neither now, sir.
To go back in time.
He'll be doing nothing for the rest of his life. Yeah. I heard something about the Ant-Man movie as well, which I think is quite obvious, but apparently the movie is going to be predominantly set in the quantum realm. And then like they're going to have like these big, massive, like epic, like space, like Star Wars style battles, but it's all taking like place in the microverse, so it doesn't make any difference to anything going on in the MCU right now, which I fucking love. I love that idea. Because it's just like anything that happens here, like you're gonna have Kang blowing up shit, and it's gonna just be wild. And then just when they zoom back out, it's just like it's as if nothing happened, you know. I think it's gonna be a really fun movie.
That's something that Marvel should really take into account, is that, you know, they really need to tread lightly when they're in the quantum realm. They've already stated like that the quantum realm has different effects, and therefore like time travel could be different. You know, you never know like what they're gonna do to like retcon the situation. And hopefully it doesn't retcon it to the point where like people are like, that's just a straight up continuity error and you can't fix that. So like I know that as a general audience, they don't care. But as us, like specifically, we're gonna be like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then we're gonna be like, what the hell?
So I think what the plan is Kang is gonna be trying to control the quantum realm because he wants to control time. So I think what's the Wasp's mother's name? I can't think of her name right now, but basically
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, so Michelle Pfeiffer's character has come across Kang already in the quantum realm, apparently. So like I love that idea, bro. Love it. Because like
that's very cool.
Wasn't she there for like 30 years or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be cool. I'm very excited for the next Ant-Man movie. I think Ant-Man's like one of the it's like one of those MCU titles that like they're all right, they're like really enjoyable, but they haven't like broke through to that like greatness level. And I'm excited to see what they can do with Quantumanium, where it's like, how crazy will they go? Will this be the Ant-Man that like fully sends it? And so everyone's like, that's the best Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
Because the second was kind of like, a little step down.
Yeah.
The second one, really, like I thought it was like even like an even better step. It's just the villain was played out like in a way where you didn't really care about the villain. But I love like all the plot that was going on in between. Like I love the, you know, everything that was in the first movie came over to the second movie, but like rehashed in a way where it was a nice refresher. You know, it wasn't too much, but yeah, like the only thing I would say about that movie was the villain, like not memorable.
So Yellow Jacket from the first one, what's his name? Corey Strahl, or can't think of his surname. Apparently he's going to be playing MODOK in the new movie.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Yes, sir. MODOK.
Are you really gonna bring MODOK into live action?
He's gonna be in the quantum realm, and he's gonna be working for Kang.
which I love, because I remember like in the past I was telling you guys like they need to bring in MODOK, and you're like, I don't know, it seems kind of weird, and
it's very
lo
weird.
And behold,
it's very.
I don't think they're gonna be able to do it.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see MODOK and be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. Like, it's like, why does Yellow Jacket look like that? What the hell happened to him?
Yeah, that's shocking. Like MODOK is such a wild character.
Yeah,
that like doesn't really work outside of comic books, I don't think. But you know, Marvel has surprised us before. So
I think they'll do a kind of more like realistic version of him, if that makes sense. Like, you know, it won't be as kind of out there as like a big flying TV with legs, like, you know. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Although when I see MODOK, all I think about is like how much cocaine was going around the Marvel Studios like comic book office back in the day. Like how high was everybody to make characters like that?
Who first drew that and went, this is it, this is the money?
Yeah, I fucking love it. Oh man.
Yes, sir. So SDCC is going to be next week. So in the next episode of the podcast, which we are planning to do live on YouTube,
Hey!
which is going to be great fun. So make sure you're there next Sunday. But and hopefully by the time that we go live, we should have all of the biggest bits from that weekend in SDCC announced. We actually could be live as day 2's going on. What time is it for you now, Alex?
It is 3:38 p.m.
What? Say that again.
3:38
p.m. Okay, so yeah, like I think maybe there could be still a couple of announcements while we're live, but I think we'll have the bulk of it to kind of talk about in the next cast, which I'm very excited about being live.
Yeah.
But a couple of things that I've heard that could potentially be happening: Deadpool 3 announcement, Ryan Reynolds walking out on stage,
Huge.
Boom. Black Panther 2 trailer, boom.
Finally need to see that.
Yeah.
It feels like we should have had it already, but I'm always bad at that type of thing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that too, but I have noticed it in recent time, and I don't know why this is, but it seems like some of the trailers are coming quite late. You know, the Spider-Man trailer was like, what, 3 months before the movie came out, maybe less, and this movie is due out in November, I think. So, you know, yeah, it kind of adds up to the way that they're kind of trying to do things now. Maybe they're trying to just keep the leaks and all that sort of stuff at bay as much as they can. Like, I know Feige loves doing test screenings as much as possible during the production of movies, and this is how all these leaks come out all the time. This is why they this is why they're getting fucked, because whoever's sitting in, there's untrustworthy people that are sitting in these screener tests, and they're just going and leaking everything on Reddit, and that's how we know all this stuff, you know. So obviously that has its flaws, of course, because, you know, they get pissed off then when people like spread the news, but at the same time, the way that Feige is running this by having all of these test screenings, I think it makes for better movies at the end of the day. You know, they can see what works and what doesn't work, and I think that was a kind of big thing that they did when they showed that first tester of Doctor Strange 2, and apparently it was a flop, and they were like, okay, back to the drawing board, COVID hit, let's get Sam Raimi in, and they turned it into a kind of like crazy mad horror movie, which was fantastic. You know,
well, one question I have is when do we usually see, like, on average, how many months is it like during marketing, like before the actual filming, you know, like how many months does it take, or sorry if I'm let me rephrase this, at what point do they start marketing before the movie? Like, is it supposed to be a few months beforehand, half a year? What are we supposed to be looking at?
I would say, like, if you're talking about marketing as in like trailers and TV spots and like posters and stuff, like on buses and all that stuff. For me anyway, I usually notice that stuff kind of like a month out, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the TV spots get really heavy in the last kind of 3 weeks before the movie comes out. But yeah, like, you know, I haven't seen one poster for Black Panther. We obviously haven't seen any kind of announcements. We got the title announcement. That was about it. So yeah, like, there's been very little on that movie, and that's coming out in a couple of months' time. So, you know, I would expect we're going to get a trailer at SDCC. I know that they have planned some stuff for D23 as well. So there's going to be some more announcements at D23. So that might be like Disney Plus stuff, maybe, I presume. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
It's been so weird lately because, you know, for Spider-Man, or during Spider-Man, that's when we got our first Multiverse of Madness trailer, right? Was when Spider-Man
in the
launched.
after credit screen, and that movie was meant to come out 2 months after Spider-Man, and then they like pushed it to May. So yeah, I don't know. Like, they had, I think that movie was in a lot of trouble, to be honest. Like in edit, because, you know what I mean. Like, I think, was it like November when they decided to push it back? So I think it was like 3 months before it was meant to be released. They were like, actually, no, this isn't ready, and they went into a bunch of reshoots. Like, you know, they went into like six weeks of reshoots. Like, it's crazy.
That's tough.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I do feel sorry for the people involved in that, because I'd say it was absolute, like, just hectic. Absolutely hectic. Speaking of Doctor Strange 2, actually, they put out the making of on Disney Plus. I watched it yesterday. Fucking fantastic. It's an hour long. It's amazing. It starts out and like Bruce Campbell comes out and he's like talking, like he does like an intro for it as if it's like a 90s like mystery kind of TV show. It's fucking so Bruce Campbell. It is amazing. I just biggest smile on my face, like just from the get go with that, like, and it was just so good to watch them make it. And I don't know if you guys knew this before, but Sam Raimi puts his original car that he had like in his early 20s. I think it was the first car he ever bought. It's like a Delta 88, and it's been in every single one of his movies. And I did not know this, but now that I know it, I'm like, oh my god, it makes so much sense, because like it's Uncle Ben's car in Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then I think they have a flash. He has like a memory or something in Spider-Man 3, so like they get the car in again. It's in Evil Dead. It's the main car in Evil Dead and stuff. And in this movie, he has it. You know, when he goes to that final universe that's been part of the incursion or whatever, the Delta 88's just like on a crane spinning around in the air. I'm just like, fair play, Sam. Congratulations, sir. That's incredible, you know.
That is really funny.
Yeah. So yeah, highly recommend anybody listening or watching this check out the Assembled for Doctor Strange. I'm big into watching like how stuff is made. I love watching the behind the scenes stuff in movies. So for me, it's always, I have to watch that the second I see it. Like, you know, the Star Wars galleries are always really good as well. I'm looking forward to seeing a making of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think that'd be great to see some of the background stuff of that, and same with like Thor and all that stuff. So yeah, love it. Big fan.
Definitely.
Yeah, guys, do you have anything else you want to go over? We're at the hour mark, so it's kind of at a nice point.
Are we not talking about Ryan Gosling, rumored to be Ghost Rider?
I heard this, but
really?
I also heard your man Norman Reedus as well. I know he's up there. I
feel like that was fan casting though, Norman Reedus.
I
think that was...
Yeah, I don't know. I think I did hear something about that as well. But Gosling, man, that's interesting.
I mean, here's the deal. Have you ever seen the movie Drive?
Yes.
He's incredible in that movie.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I don't know what Ghost Rider they're going to go with. But if they go with like the, you know, like the one where he's driving a muscle car, the current iteration, I forget the young lad's name. But that would
like
be
Robert Rio or something like that. Or I can't remember.
But he drives like a hot rod, you know what I mean? He's not driving the motorcycle. So I was like, Ryan Gosling driving a car again? Sign me the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
Because when everyone's like, oh yeah, Norman Reedus would be perfect, I think you're all incredible assholes. Like Norman Reedus is like such a mid actor.
You were typecasting that man, you know.
Like he's just because he rides a motorcycle.
Exactly.
Like he's not that.
That's exactly
I'm sorry.
it. That is exactly it.
Like he sucks in The Walking Dead. He sucks. I'm sorry.
He's very plain.
I think
he's working.
I think The Walking Dead just sucks, to be honest, because, you know, anyone that I've ever like watched that's worked with him has said that he's fantastic. I just think
he seems great.
I think the content is just bad. I think if you throw him in something really good, I think he'd be good, you know. But I don't know if you need to just typecast him and throw him on a bike and let him be Johnny Blaze. I just think it's a bit too on the nose, you know. And so I don't know. I heard Keanu Reeves said that he's absolutely down to play an old man Bruce Wayne when he's a little older himself. I think that'd be sweet, man. That'd be really cool.
Batman Beyond?
Yeah. I think that'd be fucking deadly. I'd love it.
Batman Beyond. The entirety of the nerdom wants it.
Exactly.
It's very true. I thought that's where they were going when they were bringing like Keaton back. It made sense, you know.
Yeah, it would be so good.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're trying to do with Batgirl. They maybe like, you know, he's going to be in the Batgirl movie, and maybe that's what they're kind of lining up, a kind of Batman Beyond thing, but just with Batgirl instead. Yeah,
I need the future, bro. I need it to be in the future setting.
Yeah,
that's why now our only hope is Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that'd be sweet, dude. That'd be sweet.
He comes back in 10 years as old man Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
that would be really fun.
Speaking of him, I saw he married Jennifer Lopez this weekend.
Oh, congratulations. Doing well for himself.
GG, sir. GG's. Yeah, guys, I think that's it for the week, to be honest. Unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up. I think we'll
just a reminder, next week we're live here on YouTube. We'll be posting on social media, but episode 70 of the podcast will be live.
Yeah, and a massive thank you to anybody who's still listening to us now, whether you're listening on Spotify or you're watching us on YouTube. If you're new, make sure to hit the subscribe buttons, turn on them noti bells, and if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment below, let us know what you think of what we've been talking about, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Later.